So lesson 1, we're going to talk about nominative case, accusative case and genitive case. This is extremely important that you know what these three things are, because this is the whole concept of writing and speaking Greek. It's probably the hardest thing to get to grips with, but once you've got it, you'll be well away with your language. So nominative case, and again I suggest you use colours when you're learning for every part of your Greek sections, so you won't get confused to begin with what part you're speaking of. Nominative case, this is the subject of a sentence. The man. Whose? Pios. Don't worry about some of these bits, just understand what nominative is. So the man, the woman, the dog. Accusative case, which is talking about a direct object, the object of a sentence. Whom? Pion. So for me, I like to think it's what we're talking about, the subject. E.g., the girl sees the dog, so the dog is the thing we're talking about. So what? The subject, the dog. Genitive case is the indirect object which shows possession of the. So it's what belongs to someone, whose. This is more sense once we get sentence going. So I suggest you write those down, write it down as it is. It'll make more sense as you look at sentences. But I just wanted to cover the definitions of those first and foremost. So write them down and use colours, and then whenever we're talking about these bits in a sentence, I'll put the colours in, and that should help you along. Now today we want to begin first of all, if we're talking about a dog, a cat, not the, but a cat, a dog, a fish, whatever we're talking about. So we want the three sections. We want the nominative, if we're saying in nominative. We want to say accusative, how we would say it in accusative. And we would also want to say it in genitive. I always like to keep this order, but of course it doesn't matter too much, but you'll find most textbooks keep this order. So if we're in nominative and we want to say a man, because we're going to have masculine, feminine and neuter. So if we're saying it in nominative as masculine, we would say enas. So a man is a masculine enas. If we want to say a woman in nominative, mia. Again, make sure you've looked at my alphabet and pronunciation video, which is my introductory lesson. If we want to say a child, which is a neuter word, don't worry about how you know which word is which. I will cover this in another episode. We would say a word you've probably heard of, ena, a child, because child happens to be a neuter word in nominative. Now these change in accusative. So again we have masculine, feminine and neuter. So if we want to talk about the subject, the dog, dog happens to be a masculine word. So if we were saying, translating this sentence here, the girl, so we'd put this from the nominative, sees the dog, the accusative, so we would write enan. See how this one's different to here. But the good news is feminine remains the same and neuter remains the same. So only your masculine changes. In genitive, again we have masculine, feminine, neuter. So in genitive, masculine of the, masculine is enos. Feminine, mias. And neuter, enos, the same as the masculine. So this is how we say in nominative, in accusative, genitive. One thing, a dog, a man. And remember, these is where you would make the appropriate changes. It's a singular noun.